going on?
Oh, hi, honey. I thought you might like something to snack on while I cook dinner. Oh, silly. I have 1950s stereotype syndrome. Won't you join me? It's instant Folgers. Tastes good as fresh perked.
There are 200 or 300 giant shrews out there. Monsters weighing between 50 and 100 pounds.
50 to 100. Wait a minute, you must be kidding.
The Killer Shrews is a complex morality fable about the problem with overpopulation and the dangers of playing with science. It's also the story of a scientist who accidentally creates a race of giant man-eating shrews. Well, what do you know? Our second episode in, and we're still talking about when science attacks movies.
Yes, we can learn all the ethics of science by watching these movies.
To be fair, this one had a lot more going for it from the beginning, I think, than The Brain That Wouldn't Die did. Just from the title alone, The Killer Shrews is a lot more gripping, and you know exactly what you're getting into.
I do have to say that this movie gave me exactly what I wanted. Killer Shrews.
So in this one we have jackass hero guy, who's not really a jackass, he's just more looking out for himself. He's like an Indiana Jones type of guy where he doesn't care about anyone.
He's kind of got the 1950s boring hero thing like going on. And not to say that, you know, all heroes in the 1950s were like that, because certainly we had some very good ones, but more of like the B-movie heroes, the guy that was just thrown in there to kind of be the perfect hero, who was very like rough and rugged and looking out for number one and just doesn't care about anything. And
that Elvis haircut.
The Elvis haircut, and he's a little bit like semi-violent with the women, like grabbing them by the arm like this, and you're like, whoa, okay, calm down, dude.
Well, if you want to talk about characters in this movie, this one is chock full of stereotypes.
Think what would happen if you could isolate and identify the inherited factor in each gene.
We can breed them to the 205 group in about 3 weeks. But I'd prefer to wait and expose about half of them to the Hoskins factor first.
I wanted you here tonight. I thought something terrible was going to happen.
Wow. This is certainly a cozy little scene.
Not me, Captain Black. You go right ahead and stretch your legs. That ship's gonna be bucking like a bucking bronc for long. Besides, I got some work left to do.
I'm glad to know that movies today have progressed so far that we never have heroines who wear heels in situations where it doesn't make any sense. I'm running away from giant shrews. Gotta look good doing it. He has his buddy that he comes in on the airplane with, and
it was a boat, dear.
Oh my gosh, he looks like an airplane captain. I'm sorry.
Well, maybe in the 1950s, airplane captains and boat captains just look the same.
I can do anything.
You know something? If this thing had an automatic pilot, I wouldn't have to put up with you.
But, so he comes in on this boat with his buddy, and within like the first 10 minutes, his buddy goes out back to the boat and gets eaten by killer shrews.
This movie is probably the movie that established that trope, the lovable minority dies. In fact,
and it's still, and that trope is still going on today.
Yeah, we definitely saw it in Gravity.
He's dead.
Yeah.
This is another one that has carried on into modern cinema. Like, you'd think we'd have moved past this. But this woman is dating a jackass. And then throughout the course of the movie, she realizes that the hero is better for her and she moves on to the hero. But we still see this in modern movies nowadays. But I do like the archetype of the nerdy scientist guy.
when he's dying, he's recording all the symptoms he's having as he's dying because he got bitten by the rats who have poison.
I don't know why, there's just something about him that just like touches my heart. I'm like, I want to give you a hug. You're so cute, but you'd probably be really scared if I gave you a hug.
Sexism, racism, and nice scientists. You're all welcome here.
Oh gosh.
The scientist, Mr. Scientist, frizzy-haired Professor Bonhart guy at the beginning says that they're trying to solve the problem of overpopulation.
Not a problem now, but it will be in time.
But his solution to overpopulation is to make people smaller.
I'm attempting to decrease the size while maintaining a low metabolism and resultant a longer lifespan.
In the process of trying to make people smaller, he makes Shrews bigger somehow.
Joe, I found that the best thing to do with this movie is not to question the science. Just sit back and watch people get eaten by shrews.
I love the shrews in this movie, by the way. I love the effects they did for these, because they have two big effects they do for this movie. They put dogs in costumes, which it took me a while to figure out that the dogs were even in costumes. I thought the dogs were just running around, and then if you look closely, they are kind of shrouded in like rugs or something.
Yeah, well, it's funny because like you watch this movie and first of all it's in black and white, and the first time we see the shrews it's in the dark, so you can't really see very clearly what they are. And at first I was looking at them like, wait, did they use like pigs or something? Because I just see like these little critters like running through the woods. And then finally, like, I realized, no, they're dogs in costumes. But they never show them very clearly, which I guess works to the advantage of the story, because...
Not until the end, though. When they're running around, they're trying to escape in the canisters, you see the dogs running around that.
Yeah, but, like, in the beginning, it kind of actually makes it kind of scary. Like, you know, if I
What
was...
are
like,
those?
If I was, like, 10 years old, I'd be really scared of this movie.
The other effect that they used for the killer shrews was they had a puppet head, this one puppet head that they used over and over again whenever they needed a close-up of the shrew's face. Especially if it's looking through a fence or poking its nose out through holes, or it gets shot and you see that kind of stuff. I'm just picturing some poor guy with, you know, a puppet head probably about this long, sticking his arm up it just off screen saying, no, keep it out of screen, your arm's showing. I quite enjoyed this movie. One thing I appreciated about it is that it never really slowed down. It kept moving at a pretty good pace for a movie like this. They established the characters get on to the island. They established the killer shrews. Killer shrews break in. All hell breaks loose. Characters try to escape. And there's some drama with an asshole with a shotgun who complains that people won't trust him with a shotgun after he tries to kill the main character.
When the shrews get through with you, they won't even find the buckshot. Wait a minute. You gotta give me a gun.
Give you a gun?
It's a fun little movie. It's also very, very short.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's less than an hour and a half long. It's like just over an hour or something like that, which benefits a movie like this. It doesn't drag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of movies from this era, especially like these monster movies, you watch them and there's some parts you're like, oh, that's really fun, but then a lot of it's just like dragging and it's human drama and you're like, okay, I'm falling asleep now. And then they're like 2 hours long or something like that. But this movie did not have that problem. It was fast. I got my killer shrews. Like,
It promised killer shrews, you got killer shrews.
It promised killer shrews, I got killer shrews. If you're looking for a movie to like bring to your neighbor's house when you're babysitting their kids to scare the crap out of their kids, this is a great movie for you. I would highly recommend it for that purpose.
Killer shrews.
If you want a movie about killer shrews, this is your movie.